Hello, all of you delightful beings out there, and welcome to the stream. I am Raw Zim, currently as Paint the African Wild Dog, and we are doing DevTales today. We've got some stuff to work on here. Also up in the upper right, we've got the Placid Plastic Duck Simulator because, well, ducks. Enough said.
Quack.
So, for the system today, I am signing up Scar for the Transformation Game Jam this year. And so we gotta add something sooner rather than later because I mean I was always going to add transformation to the system, but hey, there's a game jam, so why not, right?
All right. Well, we do have some things with it already, which is type change. So we do already have it.
What I am more like, yeah, that is definitely something we can do, but
no, I'm saying as an example of something we can build off of.
If you guys go down to the shape-shifting section under Primeval Features, I ignore this the extra ability section because that's just copy-pasted from the natural defenses because I didn't want to go through all the formatting and whatnot.
Understandable.
Do you have a page number for me by chance?
91.
91. Come here. Oh, there's a lot of people in the book.
Yep.
Of course, Google Docs, you got to be a pain. Oh my goodness.
Also, I don't know if I've heard from you yet, Era, but I would love to hear what you think of the what I've currently got for Primeval Features so far.
Honestly, I haven't read it. I've been meaning to, but I keep on end up doing other things. So give me some time here.
Not a problem.
Oh, this is a whole chapter. Oh boy. All right.
Yeah, Lightpaw, we do have those, but I don't think it'd be very much in the spirit of the game jam to just be like, yeah, we got evolution, just like Pokemon.
Usually with game jams, you sign up and there's a certain amount of time you have to complete whatever development work you have, and you throw it out finished or not.
Yes. I've gone through all of the stuff. We are able to submit Scar with this. We are able to, it's basically they just want to, the whole point of it is just adding more transformation to a bunch of different games. Hello, all pal. But, you know, it's the spirit of the thing where it's like, we gotta actually add some proper transformation to it rather than just, yeah, we got evolution, we got type changing. That's it.
Yeah. No, but what I was trying to bring up with the whole type changing thing is that we do currently have at least a little bit of a mechanical base to work off of. That's what I was trying to say with that.
That's fair.
Okay, that's magic. I don't want to read that.
Magic is another system I definitely want to try and get to this month.
We should go over the last of the suggestions tonight, if possible, probably.
We can definitely go to those at some point, yeah.
Beerus, it's funny you should mention that. Considering canonically in Pokemon, in the manga, there was an Eevee who would just swap between various evolutions.
Wait, in canon?
Yes.
Yeah. It's called V.
There's also a Haunter that went absolutely nuts.
Yeah. But
And
yeah, no.
technically, Ashchu is a thing. Oh, hey, we're getting
yes.
a Whiskers.
Ooh, Whiskers.
For the manga, V is an Eevee that was experimented on by Team Rocket, thereby gaining the ability to freely change from an Eevee to any of the 3 Gen 1 evolutions: Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon, and back. Eventually, now I understand why, but also I slight Sag. V ends up eventually naturally evolving into an Espeon and loses the ability.
Pokemon manga better than anime ever will be.
Yeah. If you look in media share, there is a very nice mid TF frame of V changing from a I think it was a Jolteon back.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's definitely Jolt.
Yep.
Yeah. But like, isn't that like actually a really good mid TF smear frame thing?
It is.
It actually is, yeah.
It really is. But yeah, no, there is actually a canonical example of an Eevee that just straight up is like actually TFing between the various evolutions. It's really unfortunate that they made V lose the ability.
So if I'm understanding your static text right here, Zim, the idea is you take an intro feat and go kind of down a tree, more or less.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's some things that... Like, feat trees are all well and good, but when they are all the same cost, it's like... Well, what about if we want to do something that is not quite worthy of the 25 XP cost, but we still want to include that? What are we going to include with it? And instead, hey, let's just make our own little mini feat trees, but not actual all feats. Like, for example, with the natural defense, being able to apply artificial skills to yourself. That is not worth making a whole... That is not worth 25 XP to me.
Yeah. Also, Beerus, please do not bring up Zap Molkuno around me.
Malabel, down.
Please do not bring up Zap Molkuno. That is an abomination.
Oh, there's a feat I can, or there's one I can never take.
Drop the tail.
Nope, my tail stays. Deal with it.
Yeah, I put that one in, referencing, lizards dropping their, well, lizards, rats, and quite a few other creatures
I
where
mean, it
they
makes sense.
drop their
I'm
tail
aware.
to avoid.
If we want to do it this way, there is something we can reference in Starfinder. That is the way that they handle or growing spells, which I think the only spell I took. Actually, let me look at that character sheet because I bet I still have it on the tracker. Boop. Nope. Character.gallery. There's Techno. I love I have so many characters from so many different systems that while I'm looking at things or somebody mentions something, I can be like, here, let me pull up this character that has a tracker where I built this thing for this one game this one time and reference it.
Oh yeah. Also, Ido, the idea behind Zapmo-Kuno, that's good. The actual thing that they did was world's shittiest Cerberus.
Part of me wants to see it now, but another part of me is saying I shouldn't see it.
It's literally just imagine the legendary birds like side smashed together into the world's shittiest Cerberus.
Here it is. Here, I'm gonna post this
I
to
see.
you directly, Zim, as an example of how you could possibly stage that feat tree. It is Baleful Polymorph from Starfinder.
Oh, yes. The professor used this a lot.
And it's interesting because you have to upgrade it to get the higher tiers of it, but you can use it at its lower tiers. So it might be a good way of running it, though I'd cap it at 5 instead of 6.
I do want to maintain flexibility on this. Like with all of these, you're not required to go down the specific tree. You don't have to go from one to the next to the next. You can just, like in the case of natural defenses, you don't want to drop the tail? Cool, don't pick it up. You can pick up all the other ones. You don't have to pick that one. Hey, Spooky.
Also, I'm going to be almost legally required to take Thick Shell with Nova a lot because his natural defense flavoring is him being lucky.
We need to make a luck feat called To the Idiots Go the Victory. Its effect is that your idiocy is so overwhelming that your friends regain a soul point when you succeed in something you shouldn't. Because they had to deal with it.
Like, just name it something like Just Win. Just decide to win. It's problem solved.
To the idiot's friends go the spoils. There we go. I'm trying to benefit other people from Nova's Nova-ness. If we can't name it Nova's Nova-ness.
Why
Well, we
not?
could. It would just fall flat after the book is released. Nobody would understand the joke. But at the same time, then they'd have to come and watch things.
Exactly.
Well, so long, like, you don't have to use the word idiot, but, like, it could always be, like, whenever you succeed on something you really shouldn't have, and the name could just be Supernova.
A new subscriber.
You know what song just popped in my head?
Kieran, thank you very much for that resub and your 19 months of support.
Just resubscribed for 19 months.
But-
Duke, Razim Duke.
Guys, let's go ahead and focus down here. So like, we got limited time here.
Yep.
Yeah, references are something that I've been making all along. Like, one of the feats is called And My Axe.
Yeah.
And then Faster Than Fast Pause here. That's a reference to Baldur's Gate and Mass Effect.
See, those are popular things. I'm trying to avoid the references to things that are only within this community.
Hey, someday our community will be big enough.
Then again, the big bad purple, oh, I better not.
But anyways, for the shapeshifting. Each of these comes with their default ability. In this case, people can... I'm hoping it's clear, but basically they can use the standard action to grant themselves a +1 dot bonus to any skill roll. Well, it's, they gotta use the standard action to take that per, skill, but...
Alright, are we subtracting a point from somewhere else temporarily during it, or...?
There's the stability mechanic.
Yes.
Which is the thing below. Which I definitely think that there is some things that like for like following along this path, I'd be fine with it, but also like right now, for example, let's say you get some of the, like, let's say you pick this up and you have the default ability of Subtle Shift. And let's say you use it even 3 times on skills that are 3 dots or above, you are now going to be gaining, like, between 60 and 75 XP worth of skills just using it 3 times, and you can have multiple active.
Well, that is where the stability mechanic is supposed to come into play, and why I wanted to talk about this today, because I'm trying to figure out the best way to balance things with the stability mechanic.
Yeah. Well, the reason I was bringing that up is because it does say right now in the stability thing that mechanically, it says there's no mechanical difference until you get especially low on stability, and it says once you reach 20 stability currently. And so I was giving an example specifically of even just with, like, doing it 3 times and being at really high stability, you would still be up a lot of just pure XP in terms of skills.
Okay. So let's modify what I've got written. I kind of stopped writing because I was like, no, this isn't quite working right.
Yeah, I'm bringing this up because we need to discuss it.
So.
Like, I need to bring up the problem so we can discuss the problem. That's why I'm bringing it up.
There's the Whiskers.
Yay, Whiskers!
Whiskers cute. Whiskers amazing.
Yay!
Hashtag feed Whiskers.
Feed Whiskers!
One thing I am thinking about, is, so currently there's no time frame for how long it lasts. I feel like that should be one of the feature upgrades, first of all. Because otherwise you're just able to pick this up and decide, alright, I'm doing this, and then not interact with it. Because you would just have it up at all times. If it's, like, for a certain length of time, or even just for a scene with some sort of cost, like... You know what I mean?
We can certainly look into that. Though right now, probably best to figure out the stability mechanic first.
Alright.
Because that's going to dictate what we do with the whole rest of the the feature.
Alright, so in that case, the stability.
First recommendation from my side is making sure that stability is keeps pace with your points. Your tribute dots.
Yeah. Do we want this to be one of the weird things that scales off of secondaries?
We could absolutely do that.
Because I feel like shape-shifting is one of the things where it should probably work off of the secondaries, usually. Because this seems like a very, like, overall, like, specialized kind of thing.
Any particular one or just anyone?
No, I think both. We already have a precedent for certain things getting benefit from both.
Okay.
So,
I can agree with that
What if
specifically,
we-
honestly.
What if we make it so that way, your maximum stability, it's like a pool and it scales off of how many attributes you have in your secondary attributes.
Like 10 times the attributes that you have in there?
Yeah. So, like, let's say you have 2 vigor and 2 will, you would have a cap of 40. That way it scales with your attributes.
I think that would be a solid limiter, personally.
I like that idea. Make note of that, Ren.
Got it.
As
You
far as... Go ahead.
You said maximum ability should scale, right?
Secondary abilities, yeah.
Secondary, okay.
Secondary attributes is what the ability should scale off of.
And 10 per dot.
Alright.
I think 10 is a fair cost, but we need to time limit it heavily.
Yeah, I'm thinking it probably shouldn't regenerate until you take like a rest
full
of some
rest.
kind. Well, maybe not a full rest. I could also see like a short rest. I don't think
Maybe
it should go.
So, one of the reasons why I want to avoid that is because if you look at all of our other things that we have going on currently, the actual parts, like I know I've written some limits with the magic system currently, but I'm not counting that right now because it's not actually part of the system yet. But all of the other stuff that is actually part of the system at this time has no actual limits that require you to take a full rest. Or any rest. Healing is the prime example there. That just... You can just keep healing.
I will say specifically recovering your secondary attributes does require you to take rests.
That is... that and HP are the only exceptions, yes. But I'm referring to abilities themselves.
Well, okay, yeah, but part of the reason that I'm thinking about it for this in particular is because these specifically scale off of the secondary attributes.
On top of that, well, these are +1 specifically to skills currently, if I'm reading this right. Skills. I don't think we have anything currently that boosts a skill, like, in its entirely.
We do not. We did for a brief period of time, and we talked about it, but we didn't have a good way of balancing it at the time, so we scrapped it.
Yeah, we have things like upping accuracy, which is part of an ability for a scene, but we don't really have anything that says you can up your clash by 1 whole dot.
Yeah. Where if it would be something that could do that, I would imagine it would probably be this, but
we need something to limit how much they use it, because otherwise there's nothing stopping. Well, there's the other thing there, I guess.
Stability is meant to be what limits it. I don't necessarily want stability to be a resource that they spend and have to use a rest to get it back. I think it's simply turn off one thing and then turn on another thing is how that would work.
all right. In that case, how are we going to square that with the fact that, like, a lot of the time with this, you're going to be getting effectively omni specialties in a skill at will?
So for that, I think we should focus on the stability mechanic and find ways to make it unappealing to maintain those things.
We might want to adjust the cost a little bit.
Yeah.
What if we did, instead of just 10 per dot, we did 10 per dot rank? So if you went from 1 dot to 2, it still costs 20 dots to match up with the experience cost. That
Now
would normally
that's not
take
a
you to
bad
get
idea.
that.
Yeah.
This way,
But-
it'll keep people from being like, well, I have 50 experience, so I'm just going to drag this all the way up to 5 dots, and now I'm a specialist in this. And it's like, well, okay, not everybody has this.
Yeah. But the one thing that I am... part of the reason that I want there to be some sort of lingering cost is because otherwise, what you can just do is, if it's on or off at will and you only take the penalties while it's down, let's say you want to do a thing, you max out on it temporarily for that, do as much of it as you can, and then immediately turn it off, and you have no lasting consequences. At least, with how this is conceptualized currently, which people are just going to flicker that's on and off.
Well, we've established that abilities don't refresh, or don't have resources to them, like with healing. That's kind of part of the system so far. We could not find a good way to make it so healing had a cost. And if anything were to have a cost, I think we can all agree that it should be healing. But right now, people can just heal as much as they want. Granted, we have the limitation of restorative versus true, but when they get high enough in strength, well, that's no longer a thing, as they just grab the true healing trait and bam, permanent full healing at all times.
Yeah. Which is also part of the reason that we had wounded affect your max HP. Because that can't just be true healed away.
Yeah, but that requires that they actually go down in the first place.
Yeah. Okay, so... it's just... It's a little bit hard, because with this, with the current design, people are going to
Okay, so-
flicker this.
I will say, for stability, don't consider any of this current design. Just forget what's there right now. We can completely rewrite that. I'm
Alright.
good with adjusting subtle shift as well. Like, for example, I like the idea of the 10 per what dot you're going to. But yeah, I feel like the best way to balance this would be the stability mechanic, and figuring out, like, maybe they have to make a roll to determine how to be able to turn it off and then turn on a new one or something.
Just on top of my head, but what if, like, if you grow, like, artificial scales, you cannot turn that off? Oh.
The extra abilities here are just copy pasted. Don't
It's
ignore
for
that
formatting.
such.
Ignore
Yeah.
this. It's literally just formatting.
Yeah. Also, Seda, I see you out there. If you could come join Voice, I would appreciate that. Actually, does he even have access to this channel? He should.
You should. It's a Scar Dev channel.
Okay, yeah, he does.
I mean, if we were going to do a roll, it would end up just being a willpower roll. Because if we're using secondaries, there's no reason to ditch the secondaries at all.
Yeah, well, it'd probably be like your choice between Vigor or Will.
Yeah. We could always make it successes to new dots, is the DC, but I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Part of why I set it to 100 by default was I was thinking a percentage roll.
Oh no, we have gained another we.
We.
Okay. Uh, okay, in that case, what if we lower the gain to 5 per, and we make it so that way out of 100, this is your controllable. This is basically like your controllable stability, and you won't have to roll for that as much. But if you dip into anything over what you are able to just naturally control, that's when you start getting into trouble.
That is definitely something that I would be all for. That's kind of what I was thinking with things, is that you can eventually start losing control of your character based on where your stability winds up at. Kind of like I put in that first paragraph there. When you have changed everything about yourself, are you truly still you?
Chip of Theseus, yeah. Okay, so, but what do you guys think about that, like, era?
I'd be fine with it. I guess my only concern with the whole concept is how do we prevent it from being something that's necessary for you to keep up with your fellow players?
Yeah, that was my thing as well the moment it started affecting skills.
Because
anything that affects skills and doesn't take resources is just kind of like automatic pickup. Like, it's really hard coming up with a reason why you wouldn't just always want to pick this up if it affects skills.
so that's the big question. Specifically, is making sure that it doesn't end up being a need as part of your any character build. Like if you don't have it, you're just going to get left behind. That's the one thing we need to make sure to avoid.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, no matter how we do it mechanically, the 5 experience would be fine. I guess I can see it that way as well. 5 times a secondary attribute, right?
Yeah, 5
That
times.
that way it totals up exactly to 100.
And so you can. That is your controllable range.
Okay.
You can
I'd be
go
fine with
past
that.
that, but then you start running the risk of, well, now your storyteller takes over your character for a while.
Which is definitely an interesting trade-off. There is still the fact, though, that this is are we gonna keep it at 5 per or 10 per for the stability for increasing something?
I feel 10 is honestly worth it because I feel the 10 cost is good in balance because it's double what it would cost you in experience. It feels like you're actually paying a penalty for having it temporarily.
Okay.
It's the renting tax.
So is it gonna be 10 times the attribute rate, or still 5?
Well, 5 times is going to be the attribute gain rate
Okay.
on stability. The hit against the cap is going to be 10 times the dot you're going to.
I know it sounds like a high amount, but it feels fair as basically the rental tax.
Yeah,
It's your lovely rental fee.
Is that you get this for 25 XP. So in order to get 25 XP worth of skill, you need to have let's see, like, so the 5th dot in something is 25 XP. So let's just use that as an example because that's the same cost as picking up a feed. In order to get that 5th dot in something, you would need to have at least 10 dots in secondary attributes. I feel like that's an investment. And that's for just like being XP neutral, which is always something I want to check. With our current costing system, that would be our EXP neutrality, and also you have flexibility with this. So until they have like half of their maximum amount of secondary attributes, they are basically going to be a little bit behind in XP in exchange for flexibility. And because you always have at least one dot in each character creation, that means that they have a cap of 10, which means with our current system, if they don't invest anything into secondary at game start and they pick this up, they can still put a single dot in an unranked skill without going over their stability, controllable stability. I'll just say without going over their stability. Destabilizing.
That basically gives you jack of all trades, period.
Yeah, which...
Always having one in everything, basically.
We can absolutely put in some form of limitation in the way of trying to turn one thing off, trying to revert one change, in order to do a new change. We can require a roll on that. Sure, Geeman. Join the waiting room. What are you thinking so far on this, though, Zeta? Also,
so basically,
ignore the stuff under extra abilities. That's just copy-pasted from elsewhere.
It's for formatting.
so pretty much, if I'm understanding this right now, it's the shape-shifting subtle shift default ability. We get 10 or 100 stability, and doing a subtle shift with no limit on duration or effectively the amount of them, even though by stability we are limited by effectively doing 10 at the moment. You get a +1 bonus to skill.
The cost is 10 stability per dot you're going to in that skill.
Yeah, and your max amount that you can do so safely without having to roll chance dice is 5 times your secondary attributes, aka vigor and willpower.
Combined.
Basically, 100 stability is... If you go over that, you are guaranteed to lose control of your character. I do have thoughts running around in my head of things like you take damage and then you have to make rolls to maintain your control depending on where your stability's at. That's something that's been bouncing around in my head as well. Because, you know, you get hit or something scares you or something, and you've got those animalistic instincts, you know, in the back of your head. Because that's kind of the idea here, is you're taking on various animal aspects. You're wanting to improve your perception, well, you're maybe picking up rabbit ears or the hawk eyes or things like that. You want to be better at deception, well, you're going to be picking on some fox traits, so on and so forth. And with that is going to come those animalistic instincts that could take over if you're not careful. And it wouldn't be a permanent loss of character, for the record. It would just last until the character winds up basically falling asleep, and then they'll be back to normal in the morning.
So just to backtrack a bit, is that 100 stability, is that a permanent cap, or is that something that can be adjusted? Because I've heard about secondary attributes being tossed around. I wanted to kind of make sure I'm understanding this correctly.
Okay.
So,
our current idea on that is that 100 is the cap. However, your maximum controllable stability is determined by your secondary attributes. So if you have 2 vigor and 2 willpower, then you can have up to 40 stability loss and not have any risks of losing control of your character at that time. Past that is where you...
It's 5 per, so...
Yeah.
You know.
Or, yeah, so 20... you can have up to 20 stability loss.
Alright, so
that.
pretty much like with the secondary attributes, if I was to use the subtle shift to get myself a +1 in, perception, maybe get bigger ears. I can only really do that with 1 vigor, 1 willpower, because if I do the second one, I'm kind of like at that limit. If I was trying to go for a third one, I just completely go off the rails.
Go ahead, Cal. I'll let you.
No, if you are at the starting base character of having like 1 vigor, 1 will, that is a 2 times 5 is 10. The cost is 10 stability per rank you're going to. So if you're going from 0 to 1, you could do that. If you have no perception normally and you're using this to gain 1 perception, that's within your stability cap. You don't got to worry about it. But if you try and gain a second one, then that's going to be 20 additional stability, bringing you to 30 stability, and you have a cap of 10, which means now you may or may not be able to do this. But you're not at risk of losing your character. But let's say, for whatever reason, let's use integrity as an example, because there could be situations in which case you just need to gain a bunch of integrity super fast right now. So let's say you do that. And you normally have like an integrity of 2. And so you go to integrity 3 for 30. And integrity 4 for 40. And then you go to integrity 5 for 50. You're at 120. You're guaranteed to lose control of your character for a bit, even if you have your vigor and will maxed out, because you have gone over the maximum capacity.
Now, with that, I do want to say, we won't have it be, oh, you went over that stability, well, okay, you're immediately just gone. I'm thinking it'll be something like, each time you take damage, you'll need to make a roll, but you will guarantee lose it after the scene. And then it'll just last until full rest. Kind of drawing inspiration from some of the werewolf kind of mechanics in some of the various tabletops out there, where if you take damage or something, you have to make that roll, or even when you're just shifting in the first place with them, but I'm not going to have that. But if you take damage, you could lose and go into rage, but probably not rage mode with this.
I guess as a follow-up question, let's just say I already have 3 dots in perception, and I want to use a subtle shift to go to perception 4. I'm assuming that's only 40 stability?
Yep, because you already have the rest naturally. Well, this also means that at most, if you invest every single attribute that you can into this and get both to 10 as fast as you can, it doesn't change the fact that you have a cap of 100. It just means that you can fully utilize your entire capacity for this.
And what's the cost of acquiring this primeval feature?
25 XP. Which means in order to break even on XP, you need to have a combined total of 10 dots in Vigor and Will. In exchange for also having full versatility. Basically, it scales. It will not be overly XP efficient. And it, in fact, will not be EXP efficient at all until you have invested very heavily in your secondary attributes. And the most that you're really going to gain in terms of XP is, in terms of XP efficiency, you can only go plus 25 effectively in terms of all that. And you'd have to invest, like, fully into getting 10 vigor and 10 will in order to gain 25 XP. So, the way that this is balanced right now means that the EXP efficiency is not that high and not that low. It's more about the versatility.
Like, I could see this being interesting, like, if, like, this is your dead set from the beginning, you're going to invest this in character, like, I could see, as opposed to putting your points in, body, mind, and soul, you just put it all into vigor and willpower, and
And I will say, like, I do have plans for more drastic options, like, akin to, like, the Druid's Wild Shape, where you take on the stats of another creature. Granted, we don't have, actual other creature stats, but it'd be something that they might work out with their storyteller ahead of time and figure out some basic stat blocks that they would take on. But those would be high stability costs for sure. I'm still not beholden to the guaranteed you've gone over 100 stability, you are definitely losing control, but at the least a very difficult roll to keep control would be worthwhile, I feel.
I honestly like the hard number of 100 at least beginning. If you want to bolster that later or make it less likely, make them invest in it.
Yeah,
that's probably what we'll do. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you want it to be, like, a softer cap, that should be an extra ability that they have to purchase.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then there's another ability that I've got in mind of basically bonding to another player, so, another character. So if you do lose control, at the least it's not as drastic where the storyteller's taking over, but rather the player can be like, hey, buddy, calm down, that's the bad guy, go bite him.
Okay, Venom. The stable, unstable.
Can you do that one more time, Master?
Oh, this isn't something to make note of. I'll let you know what to note down, Ren.
Okay.
Yeah, we're speculating right now.
I guess as a question I would have with the subtle shift, what is the required duration? I guess, like, to do a shuttle shift.
I think it's standard action.
Because I guess, like, the particular issue I would have with it as it is written right now is
Our modest fellowship expands. Praise the sub.
Orca Commander just resubscribed for 19 months. More duckies for the Ducky Lord.
Hey there, Orca. Thank you for that resub and your 19 months of support. Thank you.
Yeah, I do apologize this was brought up before because I'm just, like, kind of getting myself caught up to speed
you're
with, like,
fine.
the system. But, like, my particular issue with how that's written right now is, to me, that feels like a free +1 if I spec into it enough. Because if it's just a standard action that I can use this subtle shift on, then with anything that, obviously I need to have, like, enough secondary attributes to, like, make it worthwhile, but for the way I see it, for any skill check that I need to do, at least out of combat, I can basically just say, like, well, hey, I'm going to do a subtle shift to get a +1 to this. Now, mind you, the investment to actually get that to that point where it's worthwhile, especially when you do have 3 or 4 dots in a particular skill. Hey, you are investing a lot of your secondary attributes into that, but that would probably be my concern, is that the subtle shift is just a very complicated +1.
That does sort of also bring up kind of like what me and Era were saying about the coming up with a reason to not automatically pick this up and feeling like you're not gimping yourself by not picking it up.
Yeah, like in some regards, I like the idea of a subtle shift. I'd almost feel like, considering, like, actually, let me put it this way. I kind of want to see like the other systems, like the full on kind of like shape change systems get put in place to kind of figure out what's the right way to balance this. Because I'd almost feel like this kind of subtle shift would probably be best utilized with like more of a hard cap, where it's like, okay, you can choose one skill that you want to utilize like per day. Like, that's probably a bit too far on the other end of the extreme, but something that kind of prevents like immediate metagaming.
So, I want to maintain the versatility. That is kind of the main point of this primeval feature, is to give you that versatility to, well, shift to whatever is needed for the situation. For things like the subtle shift, in combat in particular, if you need to change, it's going to be basically your entire turn. Yeah, you still have a quick action, but you're turning off one in order to turn on another benefit. Which,
Well,
the action economy cost there definitely needs to be considered, I feel.
I
But
think
we're also talking about the out of combat benefits that this brings.
Yeah, I think the main point is how do we make it that way that this doesn't become a thing that, for those that have no interest in taking it, they're not being burned because they didn't take it.
Yeah.
What about this? Because right now, as it's staged, there is no drawbacks. If you don't take this, you are literally just gimping yourself, because whoever has this will always have, at least at minimum, the ability to flip to any skill that's on the sheet and put 1 dot in it.
So long as they don't have anything in it.
Yeah, so long as they don't have anything in it.
And that's within their controllable. If it's out of combat, you could just put kind of like what points you want mostly. Because if you're doing out of combat stuff, there is literally nothing stopping you from going like, okay, well, kinda having a tough time changing here because I'm trying to use like 80 cap here, but I'm gonna roll 10 times now. Roll. Okay, I got it this time.
Yeah,
okay, time to change back. Roll.
Yeah, what is the drawback that makes this not, or because if you don't take this, you're at a disadvantage as it stands. I think that's the main thing that needs to be addressed right away. Is how to make this that way. If you don't take this, if you choose not to take this and invest in this, even in the bare minimum of 2 dots, what makes this not worth taking it if you only have 2 dots? How do people that don't have this keep up? Ooh, I have food. Give me a second. I'm going to walk away to get food. It's great as a concept. It's just, there needs to be a limit somewhere. Something that makes it not.
But I definitely agree. Like, outside of the actual shape shifting, it'd be nice to have mechanics like this that, emphasize, the shape shifting aspect outside of just, the core flashy actions.
What do you mean?
But like, if like the bread and butter, like if the real meat of like the shape shifting primeval feature is being able to like completely change your shape into another creature. Um, if that's like the main selling point, then I do agree that there should be small, subtle abilities like this that allow you to kind of flex, that feature in more common, more everyday manners. But I also agree with Arrow. Like, I feel like I'd almost like lean towards it being more minute benefits, at least for the early stage, if the main meat is going to be the full-blown shapeshifting.
Yeah, like I'm fine with what I see here. This is a great first stage. It's just you're a disadvantage as a player if you don't take this as if we keep it as written, because there's nothing limiting it to it, and it doesn't benefit the whole party. I don't have a problem with full party heals because it benefits the whole party.
Yeah.
This is just snap my fingers I got thing.
Yeah. So, like, for example, like the other ones, just to bring up like some things with this. Like, for example, initiative. The initiative thing, it's good and all, but you have to invest in it for it to actually matter for anything. Like, if you don't have anything in initiative already, it's going to give you like effectively nothing.
Yeah.
Because it all requires a cost. It costs the initiative standing. For the natural defenses, those are mostly free, but it's also very limited because it is a very limited resource that gets used up without you deciding when to use it or not. There is naturally some drawback and like not pure benefit in these. For this, you don't have to invest in it at all to get just pure benefit.
Except that... Okay, it costs 25 XP.
Yes, and I'm saying regardless of the XP that you use to purchase it.
May I actually interrupt just very briefly because I do have to run?
Mm-hmm.
I would have the passing thought of, I feel like as like a kind of default ability, some kind of like version of like what's the D&D spell that I'm thinking of? Like not like minor illusion, but like alter self. Maybe not something to so much degree of like maybe Dart appearing like a water flying rock ruff, but something like that can kind of utilize less like rolling advantage, but more role play advantage, and flavor on that front. Just as a passing thought.
So maybe move the subtle shift to being one of the extra abilities that they can purchase, but the default one is alter self, basically. I could
Something
go
like
for that.
That way, like, if you're purchasing it, you do have to invest further into it to start getting some of those more mechanically advantageous abilities, but something where it's like, hey, I'm a shapeshifter. Oh, cool, what does that mean do? I look like you now.
Identity theft.
Yeah. It's like, what's your superpower? Identity theft!
To be fair, Shay does have that.
We can also... just to make it not accessible so quickly. Because right now it requires Presence 1 and Integrity 1 to pick up the feat. We could change that to, say, Presence 3 or Integrity 3. Probably just Presence, I think. That presence of mind kind of thing.
I think I'd be more fine with it if we did a combination of both. Up its requirement and put it behind alter self basically first. Non-mechanical benefits, then or roleplay benefits, then mechanical benefits, then higher. Because then it doesn't become the quick draw of this game.
Alright. Make note of that, Ren. Increase prereqs and change the default ability to alter self.
but I will have to go here. I will keep tabs on the writings, but good luck if you have any questions. I will be in DMs.
All
You
right,
said
see ya.
you said change the ability, the default ability to alter self.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And increase the prerequisite to 3 of each, right? 3 presents.
Something along those lines. I'll think about what I want to do for the prereq, but the for now, just put down increased prereqs.
Okay. I'll put a timestamp as well.
So that at least helps a lot. The subtle shift, I think I'd probably make that 25 XP then. So essentially, to make use of the +1 bonus, it would be a total of 50 XP invest.
Yeah. Which, that's more fair considering the most amount of benefit you can even get out of it is 50 XP.
Yeah,
While remaining in control.
which feels a lot better because, as I said, it's no longer the if you don't have this, you're an idiot feed, or we don't end up in a situation where a GM just goes, everybody just has this, because it's dumb to not have this, so everybody just has this, aka quick draw.
I would be willing to require a roll for changes outside, instead of just, oh yeah, you could just change with a standard action. I don't want there to be a resource, but I would be okay with them having to, I would be okay with them having to make a roll in order to make the various changes. Maybe we could have a combination of a resource cost. Like if you don't succeed the roll, you're still able to execute the change you want, but you're going to be locked in with like half the stability cost being locked away into the next rest. We could do that.
That is definitely an option, because, that would definitely make it so that way you have some actual... Basically being able to decide, okay, well, I want to do it anyway, and I know it's going to cost me.
Lol, we can call it stuck like this. Sorry. You're stuck with your bunny ears. Ren, you're stuck with bunny ears.
I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow, though.
Why?
Oh, that cliffhanger was delicious.
It was funny. Don't worry, Nova has Exodia now.
I'm not sure if that makes me happy or even more nervous.
You have to kill him 5 times before he's killed.
Yay!
He effectively now has 5 health bars. It's Nova. This is a good thing.
This is a good thing, in quotation marks, specifically.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's like a good place, except in
Yeah, it's a good
quotation
thing.
marks.
Okay. So, Ren, go ahead and make notes. We will have it require a roll. And if they fail the roll, then they will be stuck with half of the stability cost. locked away until next rest.
So the subtle shift will be stuck.
It's not just subtle shift, but any kind of use of this.
Okay, can you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry. The second half, I should say. So they fail the roll.
They'll be stuck like this.
They'll be stuck with half of the stability cost until next rest.
Thank you. I'll put that time.
Also, Ren, did you see that we've got another weasel in the call?
I do.
Wee.
Well, I'm happy, but like, why did this become a thing?
I want to hear you squeaky wheeze there, Demon. Adorable.
Wee.
Also, did you see your new Taki icon there, Ren?
I did. I freaking love it. Wasn't sure if I should add it now or later.
Up to
Since
you.
we're still on the Breezel hype right now.
That's entirely up to you.
Wee.
Alright, lads, 3rd and 15, come on.
Unnamed
Alright.
character's the main character.
So I think we're at a pretty good spot with this. Ren, go ahead and give me the notes so far so I can make sure we got everything that I want down.
Okay. I added a lot more than that, so I can just keep paying attention.
That's fine.
I get distracted too easily. Do you mean like save it in a file, like in a Word file, or
I was thinking make a Google Doc
Google Doc? Okay, let me do that.
and then just share that.
Yeah. Alright. There we go. Here you go. Posting it right now.
We don't necessarily need say to join VC.
I said I was making sure to keep me focused on, okay?
Fair enough.
Oh wait, here, Chris. In order to make you a little bit happier with that, here you go. Am now also V.
No, wait. Bree, not V. Bree.
V.
Bree.
V.
Bree.
V.
Wee.
Bree.
V.
Ash pants.
Awoo.
Yeah, Chris Hobbs, you definitely want to go watch Wild Traditions. Definitely
Yeah,
want
there's
to
an
watch
EV
it.
main character.
Master, deal
Hashtag
me.
never punished.
Hashtag never
just
punished.
win. Hashtag never punished. Hashtag just win.
Hashtag 10-1.
Hashtag true combo.
True combo, yes.
Hashtag main character.
We.
All right. So I think I've got stuff to work on for the shape shifting. So I think we're good with that discussion
Agreed.
tonight.
Really?
There were some things that you wanted to go over, Tal.
I'm saying there's always things that I can.
Actually, before we move to something else, I would like your guys' opinions on the initiative and natural defense primeval features. Because I never did get those.
Like I said, the base idea behind most of these are fine. The only thing that I have is like wording things about like carefully wording things so that way things don't break or are clearly able to be looked at by people and go, okay, this is how this works, and we've ironed out edge cases.
I'm fine with
what
them initially. I didn't see anything that really stood out as something that's like, no. Yet.
Like one big one, like for example, on the in the initiative ones for the feature, the extra abilities, cutting in, for example, it says you may declare you are using this at any time. But it also says before you are able to use a quick action at any time between two combatants' turns.
Yes.
Which, those are two conflicting sentences.
How?
You're able to use a quick action at any time between two combatants' turns. And you may declare you are using this at any time.
Declaring is not using. Declaring is just stating you're going to use it.
Why do we need a sentence saying you can declare that you're going to use this if there's a different one saying that you can use this with a quick action at any time between these two things?
Okay.
I'm just saying it's going to introduce edge case confusion because it says one thing and then says something that is technically different.
Problem solved.
I'm sure when it starts to get used, we'll see any flaws in its use. I'm not seeing anything initially. That makes me go, no. So...
the one thing I do want to bring up is artificial scales and natural defense. This, like, pretty much in its entirety, what is the, because this is 5 XP, but it also doesn't say how much it heals in terms, or, you know, effectively exchanges in terms of, like, gaining more durability temporarily.
Oh, you know, I didn't notice that.
That is a good point. The plan was just one per, but you can use it multiple times. In that case, it would become either finding the resource to make it or buying it. So, you know. Let's see.
And how would this interact, like, in terms of flavor? With the fact that, it does give multiple examples for natural durability that are not actual physical things. Because I could definitely see it make sense for, like, having a shell or scales or something like that, but what about, for example, the heightened reflexes or flexibility, or the example of abs that your foes cannot help but admire?
As far as... I had to put in the barbarian reference there.
We have the barbarian reference multiple times, saying that your armor could be your rock hard abs.
You see, now I'm just thinking of, I don't remember his name from Fullmetal Alchemist. What is his name?
Oh, I know that's the guy.
Sorry, yeah, that's Armstrong.
Yeah,
Armstrong.
I'm just sitting here thinking of Armstrong now. Just
That
going,
was when I
oh.
wrote that line. That was exactly who was in my mind.
I like how he's I
arm.
like how he's not even the strongest Armstrong member of his family around.
No, that's just who I thought about first, because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure at one point in time he asked to be hit more than once in like a scene.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
as for how this interacts, that is up to the table. I don't care how they explain this away. My point is to keep it flexible. I frankly don't care that it doesn't make much sense for an artificial scale to be applied when your natural defense is you're very flexible. I don't give a damn. If they want to come up with specific flavor on that, they can. But that's
They
up
have
to
a
the table.
tactic.
The point is they can use it. We're trying not to like the core thing. One of the core things of the system as a whole is you're not limited on anything based on your species.
Yeah. No, so what I was bringing up is that we basically have done a specific flavor bent on this, which is going to like turn people off of wanting to use something like it if it doesn't go with the flavor of their thing.
Okay, then what is your suggestion instead of just pointing out the flaw?
So the thing is that we are saying like utilizing various artificial materials such as a hardwood, metal plate, or otherwise with some straps and adhesive. You may apply temporary patches to your natural defense durability while waiting for prior damage to heal. Now, this is something that is specifically more referencing the physical aspects of it, but all of the examples are mentioning only the physical things. We should really like mention some other sort of aspects, like, you know, maybe like lucky talismans or something, where it's still a physical resource, but it doesn't actually bolster or patch anything physical. Because the problem is just with the examples we have are basically only referencing the more physical type of natural defense. Does that make sense?
I think you're overthinking this. But to appease you, I will put in something here.
I'm just saying that with the examples we're giving, we're putting a specific tone on this. That's literally it. I was just talking about literally in the example for artificial scales. But you can put stuff elsewhere if you want. I was just talking about what I was, you know.
Okay, shut up so I can write.
We are back, bathroom.
All right.
There, new paragraph.
Shit. That is... Hate to see that. Sorry, I'm watching sports ball and player got injured on a non-contact. It is never good when someone gets injured on a non-contact. That means something probably broke or snapped. Ooh. Alright,
I'm back.
Alright, cool.
Welcome back to Fantasy Island.
Does that paragraph work for you?
Yep. Hey, I just don't want to like push people away from actually using things because of flavoring bents that we're putting into things. Because you know the verbiage and description that we do use on this stuff does matter, especially for people who, like, you know, we do want this to be, like, more commercially used, which means this is going to make it into the hands of people who aren't us and don't talk to us.
Or the lovely rules lawyer that's, actually can't use it because it's not listed there.
Yeah.
Not how it's written.
So that's why I'm just more focused on this, because, you know.
Blech.
I feel some of these may not actually be required, but okay. You got your paragraph taking care of it.
Let's just save somebody else from Tal.
Fair enough.
No offense, Tal.
No, I know I'm a bit rules lawyer at times.
Just imagine what Tal's doing, except in the middle of a game and somebody being like that, except towards another player.
Yeah. I at least limit my pedanticness to the correct times to express it. Alright, well, he's up and walking around, so at least there's that.
Excuse me while I jump off this light tower, then. Fishy, fishy.
Replay! They had an offsides on the defense. That's a free play right there.
He's watching American football.
Yep, that's what I kind of figured too.
Look, we're playing not quite. Basically, our entire division treats everyone in our division as rivals, but like, we're currently playing the a team that we have been feuding with for a bit, and it's an in division.
Candy, I will ban you.
I will send you to Jesus.
No, we're gonna send them to Gerald's. Get it right.
I will send you to Gerald's, Candy. You will never escape.
Get caught. Please tell me that didn't get caught. Please tell me no 2 feet in. Please tell me no pick in the end zone.
I will send you to Gerald's. You will be stuck forever. You will not escape. No. Why is there a hole here?
I have seen some of that guy's other stuff, and the amount of times that he references the emotional damage thing is just cringe. It's like, you can just feel that he is so focused on trying to ride that meme train as much as he can.
I don't.
And it's...
Oh, did he? I don't think he stayed in bounds. He's out. I think he's out.
Okay, we've lost now.
Yes.
Yep,
Oh,
he's watching the
fucking out.
football.
Sorry, it's just I'm getting my team is getting saved.
We
When did this game suddenly become a creepypasta? What?
Web fishing?
Yeah, I found a
does not
random hole and I
surprise me.
walked into it, and it just took me to the voids.
Oh.
we
Yes, welcome to the indie game experience.
This was not here before.
All of them have some kind of hidden lore because they're trying to get the attention of game theory.
But I already found the hidden lore, I thought, but apparently this is new.
Literally every game nowadays, I swear, has some kind of really deeply hidden lore or ARG, and I guarantee you they're trying to get game theory's attention so they make more money. I won't lie, I've thought about that when I get to finally developing games.
I mean, it works, so...
No, game theory didn't shut down.
no.
They changed
No,
host, but...
Yep.
Oh.
The host got tired and switched out and said he wasn't going to do YouTube anymore, and then immediately did more YouTube.
Yeah. It's...
I'm not particularly fond of the whole situation with the theory channels. The new hosts are decent, but it's also like, dude, if you're retiring, just fucking retire and stop just... Because now he's got this whole theory freaking lo-fi thing going on, or... I
He
think he's
wants to be
going
the
through his,
Vlog Brothers without the Vlog Brothers.
I think he's going through his midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Because at first
And
he was only stepping down from hosting the channels and was still going to be on GT Live, and now he's left GT Live. It's like, okay, dude. And then he's got the whole lo-fi thing going on. Ugh.
I think for him, it's just like he's a workaholic. It's hard for
I
him to stop.
definitely do not understand that problem at all. No.
Of course
a
not.
list
Why
of
would
my-
you, Zem?
God, I have so much I'm working on.
Whose fault is that?
The economy.
Sure. You can fish in the void.
Oh my god!
I see that both of my devs today are completely distracted, so, yeah.
I'm here.
You were writing things. What else are we supposed to do?
I finished writing!
Okay, then what are we talking about then?
You were kind of leading this parade there for a moment, Tal, so are you done leading the parade?
The only thing that I brought up was that we needed to put in the paragraph thing.
Okay, well, I also put in the line about how much durability is restored.
Yeah. Well, we already agreed that it'd be one.
Anything else in this section that you've got issues with?
Nope. Those were the two things that I had already picked out ahead of time.
So I guess moving on.
Alright. What do you want to talk about next, Tal?
Alright, so what I did want to talk about is we are going to be doing a point, like, an updated, like, minor updated version of the character sheet. Now, obviously, the down counters are out of date, since we have... these are no longer required in any way. It is not how it works anymore. So, one thing that I was thinking about replacing that section with is, like a wounded box check thing, but I don't need that much space for a wounded box checker. So what else would we want to slot into a section like that?
I personally still really liked the exhaustion checkers. checkboxes.
Yeah, it just
couple of
took up a
people have
lot of
asked for 'em.
space.
I understand.
It just took up a
that, but-
lot of space.
Can we do it so that way each box is worth a certain value instead then, by chance?
Uh,
That would kind of defeat the purpose when they're usually only acquiring one at a time.
True.
yeah.
Because people
Uh,
did that like that.
Yeah, I liked it too. It just took up a lot of space. So I guess what I could try doing, I could try doing some magical fuckery to see if I can't make it so that way the exhaustion box thing gets back. Makes its return.
Another thing that I definitely, there's a couple of things here. I want the bonus box brought back to the side of primary and secondary attributes. For those situations where they just have an extra max HP.
We do have that in quick reference stats, EMHP. To the right of THP. Let's say if I put 4 in here.
Okay.
That's where that's at.
That's another thing that is like, we have so many abbreviations.
Yeah, but the only other option is
Like,
that
I am so
expand it.
I
could try expanding it out.
I would definitely say expanding it out a bit would be a huge help for a lot of players. Like with the armor effects and the quick reference stats. Like, it's nice having that condensed area, but we're sacrificing understandability of it because we've run into so many problems of... That is very loud. Alright. We've run into a lot of problems of people just being like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And like, I myself, I'm one of the devs that I had no idea that that EMHP was, that's what that was.
The funny thing is me and Tell had a whole conversation about it at one point in time, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. It's just hard because it's like, on one hand, we have so many things to keep track of and things that people want and like. But the other thing is that it's turning into an ever-expanding snarled mess. And I'm constantly fighting, trying to like keep it even remotely clean.
I think what we should do, while it's nice to have everything on one tab, I think we would be better off moving some of these things to other tabs. Yeah. Like, we've got the tab specifically for move slots and weapon slots. Let's just move those entirely off of the front page.
Now, you see, I get what you're saying, but I've also had a bunch of people tell me specifically that they love having those 4 slots on the front.
Are we talking about like a few or a lot?
So, I definitely get the thing. It's just that they specifically talk about loving having those on the front. So that's why they're there, because I considered getting rid of them to save on the space, but people just really wanted them. So...
I think maybe we should do a... put together a... survey for this then. Before we really proceed. Because... like, you've gotten that feedback, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that is the majority opinion.
Yeah, it's just one of the things where, like, I've had a bunch of people specifically tell me that that's one thing that they really like. So, like, that might just be, you know, confirmation bias.
I know, like, I personally don't bother using them. Literally, part of the argument I got into with Zerda was he looked at my sheet and was like, you don't have all of this stuff, and it's like, yes, I do. They're on this tab and that tab. He thought my sheet was undone, and it's like, no, I didn't see a reason to have these, because I prefer to have everything in one place, and, well, if I plan to have more than 2 moves, or 2 weapons, or whatever combination thereof, it's better, I'd rather just use the, other tabs for that. So I know I personally am A-okay with those being gone. I'm also okay with them staying. I'm not that particularly fussed either way. But if we're wanting to remove some of the clutter here on this main tab, on this main sheet, that is one of the best ways to go about it. And I know for a fact that I definitely either want an explanation box like the quick reference stats has, or ideally have these armor effects and whatnot expanded out for explanations.
Yeah, those armor effects, those abbreviations, are the same abbreviations that are on the main sheet. Which is why there wasn't anything on the character sheet, because it's the exact same abbreviations that were already being used.
That is something that I'm trying to figure out a good way to get rid of, because the number of abbreviations is staggering.
I think we should do a survey. A survey would let us know what's going to be the least impactful loss, honestly, no matter what we do.
We can absolutely do the survey, ask them what they think about the abbreviations on the main doc as well as on the sheet, and what they'd like to see and do, and what we can and cannot get rid of, etc., etc.
Alright.
I can help you with that if need be, Tal.
I can set it up, but it would definitely be appreciated, actually, if you want to handle that, because, I got other stuff that I'm probably going to be working on.
Okay. I will try to do so. Is there anything... well, no, there's a couple of things on the sheet that have to remain where they are. Tributes and skills and expertise are probably not moving, period.
Yeah, that has been there like that from the beginning for that reason. It is just pretty much the best layout.
And those are by far the most referenced things anyways, so...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll leave those out. Alright, I will try to get that done in the next week or so.
Yep. I know the custom skills box is technically not the most useful at all times, but it is something where, it should probably just be there.
I appreciate having that myself, because while I'm trying to avoid it with the primeval features, there have been some thoughts of, I feel like this should have its own investment chain of skill associated with it.
Yeah.
In particular,
also,
companions feed, the companion feature. I was thinking a leadership skill, even though it mostly ties in with presence already, I kind of want to separate it out for this is specifically what you're rolling in relation to that.
Yeah. It's like one of the things where, for example, in, a different system, me and my buddies were like, oh, hey, we don't have a good skill for laying explosives. And this is in Star Wars, so it was that could be important a lot of the time. If you're being rebels going around trying to sabotage Imperial things, I don't want to be rolling computers to plant explosives. I don't want to have a computer jockey do that.
Yeah, that's
so it was
weird.
let's make a demolition skill and have that just be a skill.
Me secretly maxing out demolitions. Why do you have so many skills in demolitions? Don't worry about it.
Alright,
Cat.
so that aside, I think we know where we're going to go with the character sheet for the next step then.
We
We
got
got
10 minutes.
9. Yeah.
9 minutes now.
So let's go through the suggestions then. Let's see here. Yeah, there's no way we're pulling through all of these suggestions in one sitting.
Especially because we have like 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, even if we spent the whole 2 hours, there is so much here. Which I really appreciate that, guys. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
We?
Alright, time to go to the top.
To the top now, y'all.
So, we got from Key here. Would you kindly, a persuasive, charismatic feat that can convince neutral or positive demeanor individuals or groups to perform a task for you that may be outside the norm for their behavior. This would be more complex and might have a variety of intensities depending on how many dots someone has. Mainly intended as a feat for someone with NPC followers or allies, convincing them to perform a certain set of actions immediately with an action of their own. Another feat idea in line with this would be commander-style feats that allow a character to spend an action to have an ally or allies immediately perform an action of their own, preferably without penalty. For example, commanding allies to move up to X feet or asking them to move to prevent an enemy from reaching you. Not bad ideas, but I think those will probably go under the companion primeval feature, personally.
Yeah. One thing that would be I think a good way to balance this is maybe limiting it to maneuvers or something of that. Because otherwise you could just get like an extra attack in if it doesn't have like some sort of limiter on it. Or maybe like quick actions.
I would agree. Limiting it to just maneuvers would be good, I think.
That way, like, you can, I'm fine calling it would you kindly, by the way. You could do a thing where it's like, oh, hey, I want that person right now to move, like, take a movement maneuver, and then they do that. Or you'd point at them and go, like, take a brace action. So it'd definitely be good, even if it was just limited to maneuvers.
Sorry, I had a bit of an interruption. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying that if it's limited to maneuvers, it's still really good, because, like, for example, you could, like, tell, like, a companion or follower or whatever to, like, use one of your actions to have them perform an aim maneuver or something. Or to perform a brace, or something like that, it'd just be useful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, if we do put it under the companion's primeval feature, do we want that to be a... Actually, we should probably discuss the companion's primeval feature. Maybe we should do another dev session next week. Because that's been... I feel like it would be best as one of the primeval features, but figuring out how it's going to work is a nightmare.
Yeah, so... should also probably just straight up... Look, we just made a dev schedule. We should probably try and keep to it.
Yes. So not next week, but the week after. Okay.
Yeah. Besides, it gives us more time to think on it and actually do the other things we're supposed to be doing.
Alright, so would you kindly, I'm putting down notes, causes a companion to use a maneuver, costs a standard action.
Yep.
Alright.
Causes companion to what again?
Oh, you don't need to
Perform a
make note.
maneuver.
I already
we
put that
we
in.
know what it does, yeah.
Cat, you're the one that got in my lap. Why are you doing that? My cat thinks he's a slinky. He's hanging half off my lap like he's trying to escape, slowly sliding off. And he gave me a look like, why aren't you stopping this?
Wee wee.
Because I want you to stop it, obviously.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna let him slinky right off my lap, then watch him be angry at me because it's funnier.
Wee.
Demon, are you the reason? Are you trying to occupy my lap as much as my cat is?
Wee wee.
Adorable.
Frail Mine from, or Frail Mien? From Key.
Main. It's called Main.
Alright. Your very appearance screams of weakness or a sickly nature, even if this is not the case. You automatically begin combat with a taunt condition that draws foes to attack you or attempt to attack you during the first round. In addition, you have a +1 to any check where your supposed frailty may be used to your advantage. For example, deceiving another of your strength, pretending you are sick or easily sickened, etc. Thoughts on that?
It sounds like a necrotic intrinsic, if it is a feat.
Yeah, it looks like this is a feat proposal. We actually have all 3 necrotic affinity feats. I'm trying to stick to 3 of each before we start going with more.
That's fair. Yeah, it's like mean or main, depending on where you're from for how you pronounce that.
But I do like this idea. Your guys' thoughts on it? Era.
Yep, I'm here. I was waiting for Tel to talk. I was expecting him to say something first.
Well, I was about to, and then Zim said era, so I was just gonna wait.
We got the dragons
ahead.
doing the dragon thing.
And I was gonna say, it definitely has potential. It definitely imparts flavor. I don't know about +1 to any check where your supposed frailty may be used to your advantage, because that's super open-ended, in addition to automatically taunting for the first round.
Yeah, that sounds like something that should be a specialty, the second part.
Yeah.
So I would remove that personally. The starting combat with like a 1-round taunt, I'm fine with.
Yeah, that's,
Alright, I'll add it.
Wee wee.
Wee wee wee.
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 I think we might rename it to Come At Me. That way it's more generalized than just a sickly nature or weakness.
Yeah.
Come at me, bruv.
Do we want any in pre-rec? Maybe Presence 1 for this?
Oh, yeah, it definitely needs a presence.
Presence
rec.
one.
It needs a presence rec.
You good with Presence 1, or...
I'm fine with presence 1. It lasts for a single turn at the start of combat.
Okay.
It just definitely needs a presence rec. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and hop down.
Beep wee.
Or I guess up in this case.
Oh, it is that
I'll
time, isn't
finish
it?
writing it later, but yes.
Beep beep wee.
Alright, Geeman, get in character now.
Okay. I was having fun.
You're always having fun. Pat, 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 pat.
Have fun, you guys.
Thank you everybody for joining today for this DevTales as well as Art Marten stream. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We've got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. They're on the website as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and your support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by sharing the stream around, as well as coming by, hanging out, picking up merch over at zgfgaming.store, subscribing to us on YouTube as well as stream loots, or just by hanging out. But for now, thank you all so much for joining, and I bid you the most fondest adieu.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.